Remember, you can join the conversation online, on Twitter especially, using the hashtag #GetInvolvedNG or hashtag #ThePlatformNG. It's really important that messages that we are hearing actually are going out there and making the impact that is required. Because the more and more people hear these things, the more and more of us who actually decide to get involved and act, the better we would be.
And Democracy 101. Covenant Christian Center is putting together a series of educational seminars and interactive sessions with knowledgeable people and active participants in the area of governance and democracy. These are non-partisan meetings that have the mandate to do the following things among others. 1. Educating the populace on citizen rights and obligations. 2. The political
panel, and we just finished listening to Mr. Leke Alder. And one of the things I like about him is, I like to say, he's very intellectually practical. Even from the topic federated logicalities, illogicalities, you say, hey, when he said it, the whole hall was like, he has come again. What were your takeaway points? Let me start from Mr. Atiku. What did you take away from
that? Well, I mean, Leke is always on point. And what hit me more than anything else is the ideas, the fact that we do need fresh ideas. I think this was initially mentioned by Mr. Mogalu early on, but he has been able to articulate it clearly. And I think one of the strong ideas he talks about is power. Without effective power in any economy, you really cannot plan. And I mean, we had actually been talking about certain ideas, early on, certain ideas of Jeremy Rifkin, where he talks about, how the future, which is really upon us, is a future where a lot of resources are going to be shared, including power, including the generation of power. So Leke is extremely on point as to, the future in terms of, power delivery in this country. The grid is dying. The grid as we know it is dying.
And what I like is the way that he broke it into the various regions of the country, which is where I saw the practical. It's like, play to your strengths. You guys here, you can use the turbines because of where you are. There you can use the north, you can use the solar system. It was just very practical, well-researched, amazing. Indeed, what do you have to say?
I love the components around the power of the youth. The youth have to generate these fresh ideas. And he made it so plain by showing us the ages of those in political office through the history of Nigeria, and has shown a decline in the innovation, the change process with the decline as the years have increasing. Exactly, and so we need to have young people in government at all levels. And then the second takeaway for me was the whole concept of religious illogicality, where he talked about the fact that as people of faith, we should spend less time praying about the things that are in our power to change. And I think that's a very clear message today. We can change the energy system. We have the resources at our fingertips. God has given us the sunlight. Solar is logical. Invest in solar energy. I mean, why do we have to look for solutions where God has placed them? And so that change in mindset and the ability to act on a very practical solution is what brought it home to me and made this such a powerful intervention by Leke Alder.
I think every time I listen to him, I ask myself if I actually understood the language, English. But, I mean, look, one of the things that he does very well is his mastery of language and communication leaves you with not just hearing what he said, but literally seeing what he's saying. And so he's talked about all of these things, illogicalities, and anyone going away from here can literally write and explain the things he's said with the examples, all of that, and you know it almost like you actually thought about it yourself. He's talked about the possibilities. And then he did something that I thought was only the stuff of genius, where he actually does two things with what he's telling you. First, he gives you a real example with power and energy and all, and then he shows you how to communicate it to third parties with the advertising and the language calling everybody else. And in everything he said, fresh ideas, youth, vision, shift, what hit me was, you know, he never asked us to experiment on anything that's not tested. Every single thing he says use is tried and tested technology. And it's been proven for well over a decade. So he's not saying something that is, he might call it crazy, but in reality it's been proven in several different places. You're not worrying about network breakdown. You're not worrying about something that is going to fail. You're not asking anybody to take a gamble on something that hasn't worked. Exactly. But all these things are right here with us. All he's saying is, look at it a little differently. Look at the things you do every single day and just shift your mind and act differently and see the change that you want.
And we've all registered with our phones. We've registered to have a phone number. Why can't we use it to vote? I actually didn't think it was as radical as he thought.
It wasn't because he broke it down.
Yes, that's food for thoughts. They have my picture, you know, they have my phone number, my states of origin, the same things that INEC has. Why can't I use it to vote?
As he said, it does require, as he said, a shift. A total shift in consciousness.
Shift is where the work is.
Yes.
It's always the shift of the mind that is the hardest work
Yes.
ever. But I guess that's why we're here today, and that's what we're trying to do with the platform today, to get that shift, to say, let's start with these things. One of the things I think he has done is open our minds to just see possibilities. As crazy as he said, there are actually things that we look and we're like, it's actually possible.
And you know, if I just add one thing there, it's just the fact that the whole idea of organizing, he made it so much simpler when you think about what you do around your phone. And it's not something far-fetched. People are organizing themselves already on WhatsApp groups, on Facebook groups, on all kinds of groups on social media, and having real and active activities. And we can do that so much easier if we respect the tool that we have in our hand.
And not just see it as another platform to just put pictures of
Absolutely.
selfies
Absolutely.
and the most random things. We have to go back to the hall now. That was a powerful presentation, very thought-provoking. We go back to the hall for the next speaker. You are still watching The Platform, coming to you live from the Covenant Place, Igomu.
You're welcome once again to The Platform, Nigeria. Just before we have His Excellency the Vice President, I'll invite our next speaker. For those of us who were at Governance 101, you know definitely you have a lot to look forward to. Our next speaker is no one else but Prince Donatus Okonkwo.
Dr. Prince Okonkwo. Dr. Prince Okonkwo is a fellow of Academy for Entrepreneurial Studies and also holds an honorary doctorate from Dean College, London, UK, and Carolina University, United States of America, respectively. He established fast food chain Tetrazini Foods in 1999 and currently sits as the chairman, board of directors of Tetrazini Foods PLC. Today, he has successfully expanded the business into Tetrazini Group of Companies to encompass Tetrazini Properties Limited, Tetrazini Farms and Agro-Allied Industry Limited, Tetrazini Oil and Gas Limited, Zini Media Concepts Limited, Tetrazini Construction Company Limited, amongst others.
Wow. 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 Wow.